The 1980s marked an iconic era in NBA history. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, drafted in 1978 and 1979, took center stage during this decade, ushering in a new era for the league. In simple terms, two basketball giants, the Showtime Lakers in the West and the legendary Celtics in the East, were ready to battle. Few NBA teams could compete with them as they went on to claim 8 of the next 9 championships.
Boston Celtics have evened this NBA World Championship Series. And the Lakers have won in Pat Riley, and the Lakers dance off the court.
In the midst of these epic clashes, however, came a surprising twist in 1984. Sports Illustrated captured this unexpected moment perfectly with a headline that read, "A Star is Born." Even with all the legendary players in NBA history, Michael Jordan's arrival was unlike anything the league had ever witnessed. As a 6'6" shooting guard, MJ amassed an incredible list of achievements, and the accolades speak for themselves. Yet, impressive as they are, they still don't fully capture what Michael was. The truth is, his airness transcended basketball, evolving from a mere NBA superstar into a global phenomenon. Everybody wanted to be like Mike. Since June 14, 1998, however, after he took his last shot in a Chicago Bulls uniform, which secured his second three-peat, much like the Eye of Sauron, the NBA has been on a relentless quest to search for the next Jordan. On and on the pursuit went, with players labeled as the next Jordan, but none truly measured up. While one player did seem to check most of the boxes and carry the torch, there was, and always will be, only one Jordan. That narrative, however, has now changed.
That's it. The Timberwolves have knocked out the defending champion Denver Nuggets.
A force unlike anything the NBA has seen in decades has emerged, overpowering even a 3-time MVP in his prime.
Spinning, shot, sticks it, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, after watching the NBA closely for 2 decades, I believe the next Michael Jordan has officially arrived.
Edwards, the jumper. He's got it!
The dance, great cut over, and a shot good! What a play!
Over the past few decades, many basketball players have been hailed as the next Michael Jordan. For instance, after winning back-to-back NCAA championships in the early 90s and during Michael's brief switch to baseball, Grant Hill was celebrated as the next Jordan. And although Hill showed great promise, even co-capturing the Rookie of the Year award, it soon became evident that he wasn't on the same level as his airness. A few years later, Jerry Stackhouse started to capture attention. Like Jordan, he was a 6'6" shooting guard coming out of North Carolina, the 3rd pick in his draft class, shared a similar physique, and even exhibited the same acrobatic style of play. However, just like it was with Hill, it soon became clear that while Stackhouse was a talented player, he was no Jordan. Vince Carter, Rashad McCants, Antoine Jamison, the list of players dubbed the next Jordan just goes on and on. Kobe Bryant was perhaps the closest thing to mirroring Michael Jordan, with many considering him almost a carbon copy. However, there were notable differences between the two. For instance, Jordan burst onto the scene as a star, whereas Kobe gradually developed into the league's best. Jordan refused to ever lose, whereas Kobe would sometimes disappear in games to make a point. Most significantly, however, Kobe's style was more fluid and nimble, while Jordan showcased a more athletic and compact approach.
Pippen gets it to Jordan. Michael challenges and slams. Has 53! Unbelievable stuff tonight.
Following Kobe, LeBron James was being advertised as the next Michael Jordan. And while LeBron's illustrious career, which includes championships with 3 different teams and surpassing even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar himself as the all-time scoring leader, is undeniably remarkable, there are clear distinctions between him and Jordan that automatically omits him from being considered the next Jordan. After LeBron James, some suggested Steph Curry might be the next MJ, and while Curry arguably shares Jordan's competitive mindset more than any other current player, their playing styles and physical attributes are just too different. Moving on to today, Anthony Edwards is only 22 years old and has yet to win a championship. So why would anyone claim the next Michael Jordan has officially arrived? Well, it's because everything Edwards is doing captures the essence of what made Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan. For example, with the season on the line, facing off against a three-time MVP, Nikola Jokic, and the defending champions, who many pegged to win back-to-back titles, other legendary players might typically say something like,
and it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Anthony Edwards, however, with his back against the wall, went a different route and boldly declared this.
I'm super excited. Like I said, you get to compete, so you get to go home and play with our backs against the wall, so it should be fun. And try to force a game 7 and come back here.
Then after making his bold statement, Edwards truly walked the talk as he came out and dominated the Denver Nuggets, embracing what many call Michael Jordan mode. It didn't matter to him that his opponents were the defending champions or that a player on the other side had set an insane player efficiency rating record that beat out one set by Wilt Chamberlain decades ago. Like Jordan, Edwards welcomed the challenge, leading his team to a staggering 45-point blowout against the Nuggets, an accomplishment that, quite honestly, no one in the basketball world thought was possible.
And man, Edwards, it's a three. Good!
After that captivating performance, to further illustrate why I'm suggesting the next Jordan has arrived, do you know what Edwards said to the Nuggets?
I told him, I said, I'll see y'all for game 7.
That really echoes the moment from the 1993 finals when Michael Jordan famously told the flight attendants, "I know it's game 6, but I'm packing for just one game," signaling his unwavering determination to close out the series that night, which he successfully did. In a similar vein, Edwards headed into Game 7 into enemy territory, and despite being down by 20 points at one point and facing overwhelming odds, ESPN had their chances of winning at a mere 2.6%. Edwards led his team back from the brink of defeat, guiding them into a victory that stunned the NBA world.
Edwards, aim, shoot, score! Timeout!
There was no hint of weakness in him, not before the game, not during, and definitely not afterwards. In case you missed it, when he waved to the crowd at the end of the game and Nikola Jokic approached him to ask why he did that, Edwards, unshakable and determined, simply responded, "Look at the score." Then, not long afterwards, he boldly told the media that he had put one of the top playoff guards in handcuffs.
I had Jamal in handcuffs.
What Edwards is doing is absolutely stone cold, mirroring the fearless qualities many of us associate with MJ. Then, just as Jordan elevated the Bulls to fame, the Timberwolves were considered one of the league's laughingstocks before Edwards arrived. I mean, consider this. Without Edwards on the team, Karl Anthony Towns might still be viewed as one of the softest players in the league, Rudy Gobert could still be seen as the most overrated player, and the organization might still be remembered primarily as the team that passed on Curry in 2009 and traded Wiggins and Kuminga for D'Lo in 2020. But now, much like how Jordan transformed the Chicago Bulls into the iconic Chicago Bulls, Edwards has put the Timberwolves on the map and elevated everyone in the organization. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns just significantly neutralized a player once deemed a problem that couldn't be solved. Rudy Gobert, meanwhile, has silenced all debates about his playoff viability, proving to be instrumental against two talent-loaded teams. And the organization as a whole, after sweeping Kevin Durant and his latest big three and halting what was supposed to be the era of the Joker, has just put the NBA on notice. All this was only made possible by the arrival of the next Jordan.
Oh, there's a steal by Edwards. Here he comes, and there he goes.
Something that hasn't been widely discussed yet, as we're still caught up in the playoffs, is whether Edwards instills fear in his opponents. This was a significant topic some time ago, focusing on how NBA players didn't fear LeBron James the way they feared Jordan.
I don't care, he's old.
It makes sense. LeBron was known for being friendly with everyone, and on top of that, it's tough to fear someone who always flops and reacts dramatically when calls don't go his way. Edwards, on the other hand, seems to be cut from a different cloth. Just as Jordan's mere presence instilled fear in his opponents, Edwards appears to be starting to have the same effect. I mean, He brings relentless physicality on both offense and defense. He takes over games with authority, taunts opponents in their own arenas, stares them down, calls them out, and then, with a touch of humor, discusses it all in the post-game interviews. Doesn't that sound exactly like what Jordan used to do? Anyway, until Edwards wins championships, and lots of them, it's impossible to place him in the same stratosphere as Jordan. However, at just 22 years old, he seems well on his way. After all, Jordan didn't win his first ring until he was 27. Regardless, it's a fantastic time to be an NBA fan. The next Jordan is in the NBA, the next Wilt Chamberlain is in the NBA, and so is the next Larry Bird. Then, as these legendary figures seem to be reborn within the league, LeBron James, whom many consider the second greatest player of all time, continues to play, and alongside him, the most skilled center in history and the greatest shooter the NBA has ever seen, also still grace the court. What a time to be an NBA fan. What a time. On a slightly different note, it's definitely not a great time for these 18 former NBA players. Why? Well, they all got sentenced to prison for arguably one of the dumbest reasons ever. If you want to know the full story and understand why I say it's dumb, then do yourself a favor and click on this video right here.